Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur. Leelas and lessons. And this is a new Leela and a new lesson. And so we've heard this story before in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those that are familiar with the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 89. Story of Bhrigu Muni. And the story is again retold by Vedavyas appearing as Vrindavan Das Thakur. And he'll tell the same story, but he'll give a slightly different slant. And the particular message he wants to give here is and he uses this phrase 3 times in this Leela. And the phrase he uses is Siddha Vaisnava Vishma Vyavahara. And it's translated Vyavahara. The characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava are most extraordinary. Siddha Vaishnava Vishama Vyavahara. Vishama Vyavahara. So basically it's a story of the exalted, extraordinary character of an exalted Vaishnava. So some of you may know exalted Vaishnavas, and their character may seem extraordinary when compared to ordinary people. And now we're going to hear this theme will be mentioned. This is the theme. Now try to catch this theme in the discussion of the story. This is Antya-lila chapter 9, verse 310 to 394. Vishnu Tattvayena Abhi Gyata Veda Vani Emata Vaishnavera Tattva Nahi Jani. As the science of Vishnu Tattva, described in the Vedas, is difficult to understand, the Vaishnava Tattva is also very difficult to understand. The truth of the Vaishnavas and the truth of Vishnu. Siddha Vaishnavera Ati Vishama Vyavahar Nabuji Anindya Mare Sakala Samsar. The characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava are most extraordinary. Not understanding this, people criticize them and then suffer the consequences. Purport. Devotees attached to the service of the Supreme Lord are the Lord's Vishramba Sevakas, confidential servants. Ordinary people driven by external knowledge cannot understand this. As we say in the West, you can't judge a book by its cover. Very difficult. Although by ordinary consideration, Bhrigu Muni, the son of Brahma, he insulted the Supreme Lord, who is affectionate to his devotees. Bhrigu demonstrated by his actions his Ati Vishramba Bhav. Very interesting twist. Does anyone know what incident we're alluding to? No. Has anyone read Krishna book? Maybe it's too advanced for all of you. Well, there's some. Have you read? Are you familiar? It's in Krishna book. It appears in the end in chapter 89. There's 90 chapters in the 10th canto, and it's it's kind of Dwarka Leela, and that's what's going on in the last section of the 10th canto. Vrindavan Leela for 38 chapters or so, and then 10-12 chapters Mathura Leela, and then Dwarka Leela. So it's in that context. What happened was, which I'll review it and then we'll hear it again, because apparently, although Krishna book was the first book every devotee ever read and would hear every day and knew quite well, nowadays people, that was temple life. All of you are not maybe temple devotees, so these standards are not so ordinary. So there is telling that the sages once were gathered and they posed a question to Bhrigu Muni. He's the Manasaputra of Brahma, created from the mind. We create many things from our mind, mostly useless things, but sometimes something useful. And Brahma created 7 sons from his mind by thinking. If we could just think and make it happen, we would be practically, at least like Brahma, the power of creating something simply by your thought. Because if we could think our way to perfection, we would think, let me be perfect today. Why should I drag on life after life? At any rate, he had a son, and then the sages were meeting, and they said, Bhrigu, we're living in this world, this Maya Jagat, the material world, and there are three lords of this world: Lord Vishnu, Mahesh, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma. But they're all very, very powerful gods, and it's very difficult to understand who is the supreme god, or who is the most powerful one. And this is, of course, the same question which bewilders most of the people in the Indian subcontinent, even today. All the gods are one, all the gods are equal, and they're all powerful. And not being able to differentiate or understand, then people play it safe by worshipping them all. And that's not a bad idea. We should worship every aspect of God's creation, from the smallest aspect to his actual appearance as a great controller in the form of Shiva, Brahma, or of course the supreme controller, Lord Vishnu. But the sages, like all of us, they said, if you look at Puranas, you'll see that the Vedas will establish very convincingly, without a doubt, that Vishnu is God, and there's equal and substantial evidence to establish that Brahma is God, the Supreme, and equal and substantial evidence to establish that Lord Shiva is God. So who is it? Who's the big daddy, the big God? So they asked Bhrigu, can you devise a test? And so he went and tested them. Say, are you the biggest God? So now, how if you had this, say you were given this task, okay, Manjulali, you go find out who's the biggest God, Shiva, Brahma, or Vishnu. So how would you do it? You'll think, all right, I'll cook, because you're a good cook, and I'll cook some food, feast, and my standard, how I'll measure, whoever eats the most of what I cook, he's God. Because God must be big. He has to be the best and the biggest eater. The best of three. So we'll see, what is the standard of measurement that was chosen by Bhrigu Muni. And now this is we're into the story. This is the second verse, Siddha Vaishnavera Ati Vishama Vyavahara. And again, so we'll hear in this story why at this juncture in the purport it's almost foreshadowing to the future that's coming, which I was questioning whether anyone knew, and we don't seem to remember. Maybe we know. And then it's telling here, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that Bhrigu made a huge offense to the Lord. So naturally your next line of question is, well, what offense? And if you had read, you would have known, and you will find out. But to give you a sneak preview, which you probably forget by the end of the story anyway, the age being such, is that Bhrigu Muni, he decided to test the tolerance. That tolerance is a good measurement who's God. The most tolerant person must be the most godly. And of course there's many ramifications of that also. He went to his father, first of all, Lord Brahma, and he didn't show him any proper regard. Now you may recall, slowly coming back in our memory banks. And then Brahma became angry, and the sages that were with him cooled him down and managed to pacify him and keep him from annihilating his beloved dear Putra. Then he went to his brother, his kinman, his brother, family member, Lord Shiva is a brother, and one tattva that's explained it from the anger of when Brahma created Chatus Kamar, then he told them to be progenitors and get married and propagate population to fill up the universe. They said, no way, that's not a good way to go. We prefer not to, thank you. And they said, what? You're defying the authority of providence? Going against your father? Then you little rascals. So these Chatus Kamar, they remained eternal brahmacharis, and they didn't get involved with samsara, family life. But Brahma became miffed and angry, and when you become angry, you usually furrow your eyebrows, and when you do that, then from your middle of your eyebrows came out Rudra, Shiva. So there's some explanation about the material Shiva, not the subtle Shiva, who was actually Vishnu, Tattva. Then there's the expansion of subtle Shiva. Shiva is also Shiva Tattva, and this is the one we're speaking of, who manifests in different forms. So therefore he's considered the brother of Bhrigu, having the same father. He went to his brother, and his brother was so happy to see him. He stood up, "Oh, welcome, brother, welcome, come. Hey, don't touch me. You're all covered with ashes. Why don't you take a bath first, and then think about embracing me? Don't you know I'm a clean machine?" So the father he insulted mentally, and his brother he insulted verbally. So there's the two types of ninda: mental offense, and these 6 offenses, Vaishnava ninda, mentioned in Padma Puran and Skanda Puran also. The mental offense is probably the worst one, because mental offense what precedes physical offenses. Physical is with the words or with the body itself. A slap of the hand or a slap of the words. So the mind, one is supposed to feel, this is Harshamana, and Vaishnava Deki Harshamana. When one sees a Vaishnava, he should feel happy-minded. He's Vaishnava, he's Tilak, Vaishnava, Urdhva Pandra Tilak, and Ramanandi or whoever, worshipping Sitaram, Lakshmi Narayan, Radha and Krishna, like this, Vaishnava. Or even no tilak, like Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he didn't wear any tilak, or obvious signs of Vaishnava. We have our friend here that lives in Pal Colony. He's your neighbor there near. He doesn't wear any external signs of Vaishnava. He goes in shorts and t-shirt. But he's a great devotee of the Lord. He wears kantimala, but the tulsi you won't find. I mean the tilak. But maybe it's in his heart, and he certainly has all the internal lakshana, heart lakshana and mental lakshana of a Vaishnava. So therefore, we should be happy when we see any Vaishnava. Our mind should feel harsh happiness, and if we don't, it's an offense, it's a ninda. And Jiva Goswami explains in Bhakti Sandarbha that Vaishnava ninda is actually sin, it's pap. And like any sin, it has its reaction. And if you continue to sin, then reactions build up, and then you get a severe reaction. What goes up must come down. So whatever you throw out, then it comes back. So now he went to Vishnu. This is the summary of the story we're about to hear. And then Vishnu was with his wife, Lakshmi. And there's different ways the story is told in different Puranas, but he was with his wife, so he wasn't sitting in a royal assembly or sitting under a tree in the backyard or whatever. He was intimately with his wife. You only meet the wife in a confidential setting, unless you're Shiva. Sometimes he's a little more public when he meets sages and whatnot with his wife. Vishnu's Leela with his wife, Lakshmi, is quite rahasya. Bhrigu walked right in and kicked the Lord in the chest. You may see Krishnamurtis, oftentimes there's a footprint in the chest. And of course, for the Raghunugiya Bhaktas, that's of course Radharani's footprint, Dehi Padapalavam. So the first time Krishna of course holds Radharani's foot on his head, Dehi Padapalavam, please, I'm begging you, Dehi, oh my Radhika, please give me your lotus foot to Mandanam, Shirasa Mandanam, so I can, Mama Shirasi Mandanam, so I can ornament, Mandanam means ornament my forehead with the beautiful tilak of your footprint, the imprint of your red lac on the bottom of your feet, which is the supreme Urdhva Pandra tilak. There's no higher Urdhva Pandra. Urdhva Pandra means up, going up, goes like this. So as you know, tilak is narrow in the bottom and broad in the top. Have you ever seen the shape of the human foot? Is it narrow in the bottom and broad at the top? So that's the supreme tilak, the greatest mandalam, the greatest ornament for the forehead of Krishna is that is a tilak, because he's a Vaishnava, he's a Radhava. Radhava means asava, Radha. Asava is an Ayurvedic wine, asava, drakshashava. It means intoxication. So he's Radhava. He's intoxicated. This mark of Radharani's footprint on Krishna's forehead, which is red, like the eyes when you're intoxicated, or you haven't slept, in my case. They're red. Then the forehead is Krishna's forehead is decorated with Radharani's footprint, which is actually his greatest ornament and his greatest tilak. As in the Vaishnava, the greatest ornament of his form is the tilak on his forehead. In fact, Skanda Purana explains in the Gopi Chandan Mahatmyam. There's an entire Mahatmyam about Gopi Chandan in Padma Purana also. The glories of Gopi Chand from the Gopi Tawa, from the lake outside of Dwarka and the Nava Vrindavan forest, were the expanded form of Radha and his Sakis. Actually, the Astamahishis, then they reverted to their form. Satyabhama became Radha, and Rukmini became Chandravali, and the Ashtasakis, the 8 primary, not the Ashtasakis of Radharani, but Radha, Alita, Vishaka, Chandravali, Padma, Shaibya, Shamala, like this, these 8. And then there's some rasa dance there, and the gopis are bathing in this lake, and all their anjans and tilak, everything, and Gopi Chand and everything, washed down and mixed with the clay and became Gopi Chandan. In that chapter, it says that a Vaishnava is not wearing tilak, ornamenting, that's the greatest ornament on his forehead, if he or she, Vaishnava, Vaishnavi, is not wearing tilak. This is, of course, the path of rules and regulations, as I mentioned, Pundrik Vidaniti, there's no external signs. So that's, because Shastra basically is Vidhi Nisheda. Vidhi Nisheda, Shastra is full of Vidhi Nisheda. When you get into Rag Marg and Bhav Seva and Rag Marg, then where are the Shastras? The Shastras are written by the hearts of the advanced devotees. On the path of Rag Marg and Bhav Seva, then the Shastras, the standard is written by the hearts of the advanced devotees. Because you'll see when you study the lives and charitra of the great bhaktas, Bhakta Mal by Navadas, and so many are there. We have in our Gaudiya line and just general Vaishnava, there's many books, Hindi, etc., Bengali, so many charitas, Gaur Jivani Charita, and Bhakti Ratnakar, many books telling about life stories of a few Vaishnavas or many. And as you read them, you'll find there again, Siddha Vaishnava Vishama Vyavahara, this theme, Siddha Vaishnava Vishama Vyavahara, that the characteristics, Vyavahara, characteristics, attributes, behavior, patterns, conduct of the Siddha Vaishnava, Siddha Purush, Siddha Vaishnava are very Vishama, very extraordinary, difficult to understand. So therefore there's even a shloka, Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra. The mudras or postures or movements of the Vaishnava are very difficult to understand, Nabujiya, and one becomes bewildered. So better one fold his hands, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. If you have association with any Vaishnava, it's a blessing. If he's following the line of Vaidhi Marg, and it's clear by his external indications and behavior that he's following Yama Niyama and Nishad and Vidhi, the shade of Shastra, then great fortune for you. Your life becomes Saubhagya. And then if you have the fortune to associate Raghunugiya Bhaktas, or those rare souls that are considered siddhas by others, never they'll say that themselves, I'm siddha. They will say, I'm not siddha, I'm apakwa. Siddha means boiled. In Bengali, the word siddha means boiled, like a boiled potato. It's called siddha alu. Siddha alu means boiled potato. He's a siddha. Acha, he's a boiled potato. Don't misunderstand. It's a slight joke, but we should be careful. But siddha saints, they of course never advertise, but they say that they're not boiled. They say they're raw. They're what do you say? Taza, then what's the other thing? No, in Hindi, what do you say? Something's not ripe.
Kacha.
I say, I am Kacha Vaishnava. What kind of, they say, Vaishnav K, what kind of Vaishnava I am? You come here asking for blessings. Oh, you're a big sadhu. You live here in Radhakund. You live here and there. I am nothing. Do you see any sattvic vikars in me? Am I trembling, uncontrollably trembling due to sattvic vikars? Are tears falling from my eyes like the Ganges? You see anything? I'm just eating very nice bhog, and I'm enjoying, and people are fanning me and massaging my feet. And I'm such a big guru, and I have so much big following. I'm so famous. You see any? I am just like a politician. I am just like a movie star, and you call me Siddha. This is how they'll speak. And then when they're saying that and denigrating themselves in a genuine expression of their own heart's humility, because they figure that their meditation is the lotus feet of Radhacharan, Smaran, and Sham, and Nikunja Leela. So that so far they feel so unqualified and so distant that they think I'm just a broom in the marketplace of the holy name, or I'm just a stick in the broom in the marketplace in the holy name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I want to be a broom. I mentioned this the other day. In the market, Namhata Nityananda and Godrum. And then his son, he said, I want to be a stick in that broom. I want those little narayal sticks and little pieces of the broom. So this is the extraordinary characteristic. So he kicked the Lord in the chest, and then you'll see the Lord's reaction. And by kicking the Lord in the chest, which is a great offense, it's a physical offense, as I mentioned, what to speak of, even a mental offense against a Vaishnava is a sin. What to speak of kicking the Lord? How many hells will you go to for eternity? You can't even count. If you just step on the shadow of a deity in procession, where you'll go. But by kicking the Lord in the chest, he's showing Ati Vishramba Bhav. This is his Bhav Seva. And Vishramba. Shramba means awe, distance, respect. V means without. That means so many things you can say. And then in Nectar Devotion it explains about the progress in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and the first 4 angas of bhakti. It's Guru Parashraya, and it says Diksha Adi Shikshanam. Diksha, take Diksha, then receive Shiksha. Because Diksha means Guru gives his heart in your heart. And then if someone gives their heart to you, how close do you have to be? If you're going to experience my heart, you have to be very close to me, like this. I mean, physically, in the analogy. I have to embrace you chest to chest, and our hearts will beat together, bleed together, move together, feel together. So this is Diksha Adi Shikshanam. Or I'm hearing classes, it's not exactly Shikshanam. Shikshanam is Upanasanam. Upanasana means the Guru is on the asan, Vyasasan. And he's giving Shiksha, always giving Shiksha, giving classes, 1 class a day, 1 class a month, 1 month a year, 4 classes a day. Vyasa is speaking like sometimes like the Ganges, sometimes like the monsoon season. One only comes 1 month a year, the monsoon season. Sometimes Vyasa speaks once a year. Or sometimes there's an off-season rain in the winter. And then Upanayana means that when you come, that's Diksha. When you come and you can sit, yes, you come now. Otherwise you stay in a distance. How close do you get when the Guru whispers in your ear, like a lover whispers in the ear of the beloved? I love you. I cannot live without you. You're my everything. Stay near me. Listen. I'm speaking my heart. This is mantra. This is mantra. This is bhav mai mantra. In this mantra is mixed so much bhav. This lifetime, previous lifetime, many lifetimes. Whatever mantra comes out of his heart, it's heart, then mouth, then ear and mind and heart. But if it only goes in the ear of the shishya and mind, and what goes in the mind, one ear, goes in one ear, what's between the 2 ears? Man. What is this called? Ear. Not kan. Man, kan, gan. Kan, man, kan, gan. In the kan, which is the ear, roll around the mind for a while. Oh, that mantra is nothing much to it, and it's just a Maha mantra, and every rickshaw is shining. Okay, whoop, it out, and it doesn't go. And like nectar should drop from the mind into the nectar is dropping. The soma rasa is dropping from the mind and falling in the stomach and being burned by the gastric fire of everyone sitting here. Soma rasa is being generated in the mind, but then the yogis they learn this Kechari mudra. Kechari, Kechari is like a witch, because with this siddhi you can fly, become Laghima siddhi. So they practice, they pull out their tongue, there's a skin below the tongue that holds the tongue from, what's it called? I forget the name. There's a name. Epiglottis is in the back of the throat hanging like this. There's the tongue, the tongue, underneath the tongue there's a little, what? Yeah, this thing. And then they cut that with a knife. They go, and they cut it. And a little bit, and it bleeds, and they keep stretching, because they have to stretch it, and had to make because the tongue is actually can come out a long way. You see pictures of Kali Bhairava. Tongue is because she's a yogini. There's so much symbolism in all these things that people don't understand. She's not just sticking her tongue out with all heads all around in the gory scene. Kali Bhairava, the ferocious form of Durga, black face. And she's a yogini, Katyayani Mahamaya, Mahayogini Rishri, Mahayogini. She's the greatest yogini, Katyayani. And because she's a great yogini, she can make all kinds of magical arrangements for the sadhana siddha gopis to marry Krishna. So they worshipped her, and Katyayani Brat and Mrigashirsha month. So that means that. So they cut that until it gets long. And then they can, retroflex. They turn it upside down and put it in the back of the roof, hold it against the roof of the mouth, and then those bindu from those drops coming from inside the mind, dropping down the back of the throat, gets burned in the gastric fire, which is why we don't live very long. They catch it with their tongue, and then that goes on their tongue, and then it's absorbed and goes to their system. Because when it gets burned, there's no result. If you put something in, some alcohol in boiling water, it just evaporates. Alcohol evaporates in heat, or even exposure to the air. So when they keep it from hitting the stomach, and then it gets absorbed, and they become effulgent, they become powerful. It's called Kechari mudra. It's part of in pranayama and yoga shastra. At any rate, this is quite a deviation from the topic at hand. Well, let's get back to the story. But he's Vishramba. This is very confidential, very loving, intimate service he's doing a Vishnu to kick him in the chest when he's sitting privately and confidentially with his consort. And then not only is it Ati Vishramba Bhav, but it's Ati Asakti. Ati Asakti. Asakti means attachment. You've heard? Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem. He's so attached. He's such a great Vishnu Bhakt. And he is a great Vishnu Bhakt. Bhrigu Muni. You've heard of your Bhrigu Samhita? Last life? And you can you can tell about the last life, present life, future, the jivas. And so now it says, he demonstrated these moods of Ati Vishramba Bhav and Ati Asakti in his service to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Foolish people who cannot understand this Leela, but they actually misunderstand the purport. Then they don't understand, hey, what is this? This Muni kicked our Lord Vishnu in the chest. I curse him. And what is this? This is Bhrigu Muni's like this, or they think, or they may curse him or criticize him, or they may think, hey, Vishnu, see, look, Bhrigu's his bhakta, Bhrigu's his Ati Asakti, has intense attachment. I am so attached to Vishnu, I'm always thinking of Vishnu. So I can kick him in the chest, I can insult him, I can offend him. So as we said, that people imitate the behavior of Bhrigu, and they're not Ati Asakti, they're not intensely attached to Vishnu more than anything else or anyone else in this world, and they don't have Ati Vishramba Bhav, completely devoid of any restraint or any formality, just so heartily connected, heart to heart, with the Lord. As the disciple becomes heartily connected. That's why the third limb of devotion is Vishrambena Gurur Seva. Vishrambena Gurur Seva. That now you've taken shelter, Guru Padashaya, taken shelter of Guru, seeing him as Sakshat Hari, and all so many things. And then Diksha Adi Shikshana, you're taking Diksha, and then you're receiving instructions on how to fulfill the purpose of your life and follow the sadhana. And then you do your seva. Tadviti panipatena paripashnena sevya upadekshanti te gyanam gyaninas tatvadarsh. So you upadekshanti, you hear so many upadesh, and then you do seva, paripashnena sevya. And that seva is what kind of seva? What kind of seva does the disciple render to the guru? It should be Vishrambena Guru Seva. Vishramba. A very nice definition of this in Jaiva Dharma in the glossary in the back. You look up Vishramba, this Jaiva Dharma. Very nice. A blue one. It says, Prabhupada translates, and it's quite correct, because it's a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srila Prabhupada says that Vishrambena means with faith, with love and devotion. Well, that means heart to heart. So this word, Vishramba, Ati Vishramba Bhav, such an exalted Vaisnava is Bhrigu Muni. Sthira Vaishnava Vishama Vyavahara. The behavior of such a Sthira Vaishnava is very extraordinary and difficult to understand. It can certainly never be imitated, even in the mind. Can we imitate the behavior of Rai Ramananda, described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? When Pradyumna Mishra, he's a Mishra, he came from Mayapur on the Yatra to Puri, and he heard what a great devotee, or he wanted to hear about Rasa Tattva and intimate discussions from Lord Chaitanya, his old Pandit friend from Mayapur, who happens to be God, but they studied Sanskrit together. Pradyumna, hey, your name is Sharma. I'm Sharma too. What gotra? Hey, all right. So it's like his name is Vishra. You're Vishrambara Mishra. We're classmates. Vishrambara Mishra here. Pradyumna Mishra here. I can imagine. I could go to college or whatever. Here. Yeah, or whatever. They just say yeah, this, that, and somebody else says it for you. He's just ticking off anybody's. And there's one guy in the class who's going, yeah. and the teacher hears voice coming from different directions, everyone's present. So he said, can you tell me? He said, no, really, you should go to Rai Ramananda. So he went to see Rai Ramananda and Jagannath Vallabha Bagicha, where he was staying. I don't know if he was staying there, but his school was there. Anyway, he was there, staying there. I believe his house was there, in that huge garden of Lord Jagannath. And he was teaching this Jagannath Vallabha Natak, this beautiful drama that he wrote, Natak, about the Lord, the love of the Lord of Jagannath Vallabha. Then he was training some Devadasis, some of the ladies that had already married Jagannath. They had been given in a proper Vivaha Yagya to Lord Jagannath. They were offered to Jagannath by their Brahmin fathers, and their life and soul was the service and pleasure of Lord Jagannath. And they were always dedicated to him. They were married to the deity of Jagannath. They're called Deva Dasis, because the Deva is Jagannath Dev, and they're the Dasis of the Dev. Because in traditional Vedic society, the wife is called Devi, or Dasi. She's a Dasi of the Thakur in the house, Gar Thakur Dasi, and she's a Dasi of her Prabhu, a servant of her husband, Prabhu and Devi. So they were Devadasi. So he was training them, Jagannath's wives, and how to dance and how to express the mudras and moods of the dance through the movements of their eyes and faces. And also he was massaging their bodies with oil, bathing them and massaging their bodies. And they're all young. They were 16, 18, 20. So this is highly unimaginable. And in the purport, the verses itself, Krishna's Kaviraj says, no one from Brahma, Lord Brahma, all the way down to from Brahma to Kita Janmajal, from Lord Brahma to an insect crawling in your kitchen on the platform, they can't even think of imitating the behavior of Rai Ramananda, even in dreams. Don't even dream about it. So this is Siddha Vaishnava, Vishama Vyavahara, the extraordinary characteristics of a pure devotee. Siddha Vaishnava Vaishnavera yena vishama vyavahar shakshate dekaha bhagavat katasar. The characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava are most extraordinary. This is the second time that same phrase is there. Sakshat deka bhagavat katasar. Just see yourself, the example given in the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Vrindavan Das Thakur. He's saying, I'm telling you the story again. I told it 4,500 years ago, and in the Bhagavatam, and apparently you don't remember. At least none of you read it, or at least you can't remember that far back. I can appreciate it was long ago, so that's why most of you don't remember, because you heard it 4,500 years ago, in about 45 births. Every 100 years you take births, so it was about 45 births ago. So it's all right if you didn't pass that question on the exam. It's all right. That was a tricky question. Just see how strong is your memory. Does your memory go back 45 births? Listen. And what is your last life? Oh! What is your life before that? What is your life before that? The village bird, the village dog, the village pig, and finally, then it's like this. 45 lives ago. So now, Sakshat Deki, just see directly, I'll tell you. I told you as Vedavyas, now I'm telling you again, and Gaur Leela as Vrindavan Das Thakur. Bhagavad Gita Sar. This is Sar. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, is the beautiful, the exalted, beautiful, opulent, fortunate, beneficial, valuable story of the Bhagavats, the Mahabhagavats, and Bhagavan, and all his many various forms, Ananta Bhagavan, Ananta Rupam, as Vishnu, the 24 Vishnus, and the Das avatars, and the Leela avatars, and the Vaibhava avatars, and the Ram, and this one, that one, and finally Krishna, Vrindavan Sri Krishna. This is the Bhagavatam, so it's this essence of all topics. Because the essence, because if you can understand Vaishnava Tattva, if you understand the heart of the Vaishnava, and the Vyavahara, the characteristics in the heart of the Vaishnava, then you can understand something. Kichu, Johnny. Little bit you can understand of Bhagavan's glories. Here we go. Listening?
Yes,
Vaishnava Pradana Brigu Brahmara Nandan Ahar Nishamani Bhave Yanhara Charan. Brigu Muni, the great Vaishnava Pradhan. See the adjectives. Ati Vishrambha Bhav. Ati Asakti. And people say, Brigu, that's bogus. I don't believe in this Brigu reading. Excuse me. You believe it, don't believe it. Just be a little careful how that name comes out of your mouth. We're so careful. We can talk about talk about Brigu Muni. We talk about the rickshawala, the Agrawal wala, the rickshawala, the Agrawal, or a guru, sannyasi, Siddha Mahatma Baba, and Brigu. These guys. Who are these guys? This is the Kali Yuga. It's all become kitschy, and we're so offensive in our speaking and dealing. No adar, no regard, no respect. We simply anything. These two lips can say anything. Any vibration can come out. That's the big mistake that we learned how to speak. It was a big mistake that we learned how to speak. At least our mother should have taught us three things. Ra, Da, Krishna, Guru. Bas. What do you know? Guru. What else do you know? Krishna. What else do you know? Radha. Anything else? Guru. Krishna. Radha. That's all you can't give any other answer. You could ask so many questions. So, who are you? Guru, Krishna, Radha. Where do you live? Guru, Krishna, Radha. Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Guru, Krishna, Radha. What are you studying? What is your... Have you declared your major? What is your major? Guru, Krishna, Radha. What is your goal of your life? Guru, Krishna, Radha. Is that wrong? Is there anything wrong with that? These three words are the sum total of all perfection. And the conception therein, and the surrendering to them. And what more do you need? Oh, I know so much. I'm MBBS, I'm PhD, this, that. Oh, sure. PhD, right? Was it? We all know what it means from America. PhD, piled, like a pile, a pile of trash. Yes. Piled higher, and deeper. PhD, piled higher and deeper in nescience. Hey, I'm Dr. Sharma, PhD, microbiology. What? Sure. And then we think, check it out. Piled higher and deeper in nescience. You spent a long time learning how to be ignorant. My dear sir, how many years have you been in school? I've been in school for 21 years. It took you a long time to learn. It took you a long time to learn how to be a fool. Most people can learn it in grammar school, or if they haven't learned it fully, at least they go to high school, and then they're certified number one fool. Atma Tattva Gyan, huh? Say what? Say what, man? Atma Tattva Gyan, knowledge of the self. Self be me be self. Mind yourself, man. Don't bother me. Where folly is to be wise, ignorance is bliss, where it's folly to be wise. So he's a Vaishnava Pradhan, Brahmanandan, Vaishnava Pradhan, Brahmanandan, it's poetry. Vedavyas, Ranamadas Thakur. Vaishnava Pradhan, Brigo Brahmanandan. Ahara Nishaman, Bhavayanhara Charan. That's nice. He's the son of Brahma, and he thinks Ahara Nisha. He's thinking day and night about what? The Charan, Lord Vishnu's Charan. It says Bhav Man Bhav Janhara Charan. With great, his mind is saturated with love, Priti, Pyar, or Vishnu. Ahara Nisha. So this is this is the Nayak, the hero of Visham, the Vibhav. This is called the Vibhavalamban, the hero of this story. And what are his characteristics? This is the introduction. So today's story will be about someone named Brigamuni. Oh, he's Vaishnava Pradhan, he's Brahmananda, and this is going to be a story of a very exalted personality. And what? Okay, you're so and so, the son of a big man, and you're also a very big man. But what do you do? What do you think about? I think about money. Oh, it's just like your father. He's a big man, always thinking about money. No. I have bhav for Vishnu, and I'm always thinking of the Lord's feet in my mind with great bhav. So now we have to keep that in mind, that he's a Siddha Vaishnava. Why is he Siddha Vaishnava? Because of his birth. Birth indicates Siddhas also. Generally, Siddhas have extraordinary births. Their parents do some tapasya for a month, and they pray to some god, Shiva, oh, please bless us with a ray of Vishnu. You've heard of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Bhaktivinoda Thakur had so many children, then he said, look, I want to have a ray of Vishnu. So he prayed, and he prayed to Jagannath. He did so much tapasya. And then he prayed to Bimala Devi. Bimala Devi is the Shakti of Jagannath, because lady is more merciful than the Lord. Always go to the mother. Remember that. Everyone knows that. Father's a little harsh. So you go to the soft side, the mother. So he was praying to Jagannath and praying to Bimala Devi. She's the first one to receive Jagannath's prasad. We're actually eating Bimala Devi Mahaprasad. And then he got a son. He was praying, oh, I want a Vishnu Kiran. Oh Devi, oh Jagannath Devi, oh Devi, Bimala Devi. And then that ray of Vishnu entered his heart and mind, and from his heart and mind it was transferred to his wife. And a great son was born, and his name was Bimala Prasad Datta. Bimala Prasad Datta. Datta is a surname, but he's named after his cause. The cause, he's Prasad of Bimala Devi, the mercy. There's so many examples. You meet someone, oh, my name is Shri Prasad Agarwal. Why you have this name? I met so many people in India. Oh, my father had no children, or he had no sons, and he prayed to Shiva. It's very common. I've met people. So that's a common man. Of course, he's not so common. He's a pious, religious person. But if you trace the lives of Siddhas, most of us are somewhat familiar with the life of Srila Prabhupada, a great Siddha Mahapurush of this generation or this century. the last century, whatever you can say. And he was of that character. And where's the cover for this? Yeah, we see that from his birth, from his very birth, he was so exalted, and what his characteristics were. So this is a distinctive thing. So the distinction of this character, the Vibhav Alambanan, the hero of the story. I know so many other things will revolve about this. That's the cause of ras, is the Vibhav. And so the Vibhav Alambanan is, of course, here, the hero, the causal factor to begin ras. Because you need a hero and heroine. And then you need some setting, and that's udipan, time, place, and other things. And then you need a basis, a relationship, a sambandha, which means a basis, a permanent relationship between the hero and the heroine, or between the characters in the story. So in this case, that's already been indicated in the purport, that the permanent relationship is called the stahirati, that he's a Vaisnava. That means his heart has love for not his wife, or whatever, maybe, but at least in terms of stahirati, eternal permanent mood of love and devotion, which is the basic ocean, which so many waves and different transformations will happen in his heart due to his interactions with the object of his love, the interactions of the hero and the heroine. So in this case, his stahirati, he's a Vishnu Bhakta, and he's Vishramba, so he must be in Dasirati. He's in Dasirati. And we can accept that at this point, that basically he's in Dasirati. And he's Bhav, he has Bhav, Dasirati. And then how does he express his Dasirati? Because a Das will always think of the feet of the Lord, of the Master. So because it's saying, because if you read about what Radharani's thinking, she said, I'm thinking about the nectar of your lips. And it's indicated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila. Lord Chaitanya is describing, we've all had the taste we all tasting this Mahaprasad before of Jagannath. And we know these tastes. There's 5 tastes: salty, sweet, sour, pungent, etc., bitter. But what is it that makes this so extraordinary? Can anyone explain? Lord Chaitanya asked one day in Antilila, what is all this Antaranga Sangha? And they said, well, gee, no, maybe you can tell it better. So then and great Bhav and Mahabhav and Radha's Mahabhav, Granga Mahaprabhu started explaining what is inside of this food that makes it such an extraordinary chamatkara swad, such an adbut swad, an extraordinarily amazing taste, is the Krishna Adhara Amritam. Adhara, the Adhara, lips, the nectar, sweet taste of Krishna's lips that's mixed here. And do you know about the taste of Krishna's lips? This type, when the lover is glorifying the lips of the beloved, this is called, indicates the sthairati of Madhurya Rati, conjugal love. So here we can, from just a few words, we can understand that he is in Dasirati because he's always thinking of the feet of his Lord. You have ever heard of Hanuman? Is he in Dasirati? And he's always meditating on the feet of Ram. And he's always looking at the feet. Even Lakshman. Lakshman, of course, is in mixed rasas. He's in Sakhiras. And he's also in Dasiras. And so what is his relationship with Sita Devi? I don't know, he said. I didn't see, I only looked at her feet. I only know Sita's feet. Can you describe what Sita was wearing when she left or what she looked at? I don't know. Because he's just, I'm Das. I'm Ram Das, and Ram Das, and Odas, and Odas. I'm Ram Das. I'm Ramanuja. Ramanuja. It means born after Anuja. One who birth follows Ram, you see? Ram Anuja is the name for Lakshman. Because the older brother is Ram, and there's the whole pastime where Lakshman said, listen, if we do this again, if we come back here again, I had to eat so much humble pie. You told me, stay here, and then Sita made me eat so much humble pie when he went out, chased after Maricha, the deer, and I got in such soup. I'm going to give the orders next time. You're going to be the younger brother. So Ram said, okay, relax. So then Lakshman became Balaram, the Daoji, Baro Bhai, older brother. So Ramanuja, so he's thinking, I am a servant of Ram, and a servant of the servants of Ram. So I only look at the feet of my master or my mistress, my Ram, or my Sita Devi. Se Prabhura Avakshe Kari Lena Paraghat Tarapi Vaisnava Shrestha Dekaha Shakshat. Although Brigu kicked Lord Vishnu on the chest, he is nevertheless accepted as a topmost Vaishnava. Paragata. Prabhu Bakshe. His master, can you imagine in the house? You're serving him, hey, Mr. Agrawal. Oh, thank you, that's so nice. He'll be fired on the spot. Locked up, beaten, shot. This is Prabhu, his Lord, his Master. Unbelievable. Vakshe means Paragata. Vaishnava Shrestha Deka Sakshat. Just see, this is a Sakshat. This story, this person, Brigamuni, is a direct manifestation of a Shrestha. Shrestha means the greatest, like Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas means immediate benefit. Some temporary, limited, immediate benefit. And Shreyas means long-term. So this Shrestha means someone whose very presence is very beneficial, a very topmost, exalted form of that entity, the Shrestha. Dvija Shrestha, you ever hear this term? When they describe Shiromani. Dvija Shiromani, Dvija Shrestha. Dvijas means the second born, the Brahmins. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu is described as Dvija Shrestha, the best, the most exalted of all Brahmins. A Shrestha. Then Shiromani means, of course, Shir, crest jewel. The money, the jewel and the Shir, Shirasan, Shiromani. So this is, he did this, and still, so if we did that, we don't know, no one could trace out our future if we did that. If we kicked the Lord in the chest, no one, we Shrestha, Kresta, Besta, we don't know, Testa, we don't know where we would be. There would be no words to describe who we are or what we are or where we went. Where did he go? I don't know. When will he come back? Not for a long time. So we'll have to continue there tomorrow. Shrimad Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai.